Chapter 8, Section 2, Solubility. Solubility is defined as the maximum amount of a solute that dissolves in a given amount of solvent at a constant temperature. Now, when I say solute, I mean the substance that's being dissolved, so what you're putting into, okay? And your solvent is the substance that does the dissolving. So, for example, solubility means the maximum amount of salt that you could dissolve in a specific amount of water at one specific temperature. And that can change based on what the temperature is. It can change based on what your solute or your solvent is. And it can change on the amount of solvent that you have. Now, there are three ways that we can describe this combination of solute and solvent. And it goes into what we call a solubility curve. So let's say that we have KCl and Ki. Ki is potassium iodide, and KCl is potassium chloride. So for example, here, you can clearly see this is your solubility curve. This is your graph that shows solubility. And this is per grams of 100 grams of H2O. So let's say if we have water that is at 50 degrees Celsius for potassium chloride, that's about 40 grams of potassium chloride in 100 grams of water. So we're basically just looking at the chart and being able to read it. We also have, let's look at 20 degrees Celsius and potassium iodide. That's more in the range of 148, 147 grams of potassium iodide per 100 grams of water. So it's telling you how much of that material you can dissolve into 100 grams of water. And of course, you can tell that it maxes out. So here, we're kind of hitting a point. We have a lowest point, so how much you need to start to really reach solubility, and then the maximum points that you can reach based on temperature. So the types of solutions we get from this, we have three different types. There's saturated, unsaturated, and supersaturated. Well, when I say saturated solution, that just means that that solution contains as much solute as the solvent can hold. So at 50 degrees Celsius, let's say it will hold 100 grams of salt. Okay, so water could hold 100 grams of salt at 50 degrees Celsius. That would mean it's saturated. It can't hold any more. Okay, so if you add even just a little bit more, you will never get it to be able to dissolve unless you increase the temperature. And we'll kind of look at this a little bit when we do our sodium borate lab. Unsaturated means that there's only a little bit of your solute in there. So if you added more salt to water, you could still dissolve that salt and make it go away. Supersaturated, on the other hand, is where the solution contains more solute than it normally can hold at a given temperature, and this is a very special situation. So what you actually will see, and this is what we're talking about with our sodium borate lab, but what you'll actually see is this crystallization start to happen. And like I said, we'll really go into detail about this when we do our lab. And that's it for today.